Ladies and gentlemen, get ready.
Man, imagine you trying to listen to a good ass playlist of something and you just have ads just pissing out of it. I think I'm gonna go ahead and grab I'm gonna go ahead and buy this so I don't have to deal with the ads. Give me a second, guys. We're gonna grab this right quick. Trying to figure out whether or not I should sign up as an artist or a fan. I mean, I do plan to make music again eventually, but yeah, fuck it. We'll sign up as an artist. I don't think there's any I'd imagine there's no penalties or any fees that we'd have to deal with. That Bandcamp, just fucking let me sign up already. Let me sign up already. Ugh. What is? We'll just. Oh, I can't believe that's never been taken. Interesting. Okay, let's go back. No, we've taken care of that. Okay, sign down. I'll give your boy $7. Oh, I have to. Okay, well then we'll just do 60. One. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and kick this over to the stream screen. I'll be done with this in a moment. Oh, I gotta sign up with PayPal, Jesus. Okay. Sorry guys, bear with me just a moment. I wonder what an SEK is. Is that either Russian or maybe some type of Eastern European? Just send me to the thing. Let me download it. Would you like to download your purchase? Yes, I would. You better feel really grateful, Mr. Martinson. And every but nowhere at the end of the time, or everywhere at the end of the time. That clearly means what I think what you did was super puggers. Better like it. Because if you don't, I'm gonna have to find out a way to convince you otherwise. Okay. Extracting all of the music. Music extracted. And now I have to figure out where iTunes is pulling from. Well, it's only been 10 minutes. I was worried that we'd been here a little bit longer. How do you preferences? Maybe. No. It may just cover my streaming. I mean, if that's the case, I'll just go ahead and pull it from there. Or put it in there, rather. Work. Fuck off with the ads, I'm almost done. Streaming. Music. Gent. I don't know if I'm spelling that correctly. Yeah, I sure did. Cool. Let's see if I may have to update it, huh? Jurr. Hello, Darth. How are you? Sorry, I'm working on something at the moment. Jabber. Hello, everybody. What song are we on? Survive the Crosses. Okay, cool. Let's see if this works right. Am a little drunk. Is K. Let's see if that works. What we working on? Right now, I am trying to get some new music onto stream, making sure it works correctly. Checking on a thing. Title's not right, but that's okay. I can always fix it later. Let me see if it... Okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to fix that later, and then, Oh, maybe because it's not on Last.fm. Yeah, that makes sense, actually. I'll have to see if I can't maybe fix that later on my own. I might need the alert box. Okay, that's gotta be good enough. Okay, I'm pretty cool with that. I close this out. I don't need this anymore. We can close this out as well. Cool. Let's work on whamming. So yeah, as far as like actual projects, this is what we're working on right now. We're working on Grill. I got some things I gotta finish up, but as soon as I get done with that, I'm probably gonna start putting things together and then trying to get the retopo done. Also, let me know what you guys think about the volume of the music, if I need to like turn it down or bring it up some. I definitely work on the ear some. Probably needs the most work. You know what's poggers about this? We don't need to worry about ads or anything for the music. Yeah, it sounds pretty banger. So yeah, we big happy about that. I do feel like there should probably be a little bit going on here. What Oh yeah, so as far as color goes, this is what we're working with. She's pretty cute, boy. Hey! I gotta work on the lips a little bit. I think I made them like a little bit too wide. Because it looks fine from the front. But if you pull her into a 3/4 angle, it's a little much. See, like right here, it's like perfectly anatomical. But then like right here, it's like maybe just a little overbearing. Oh, I'm still on the ear. Okay, that's fine. We can finish that first. Okay. I need to work on the inside a little bit more. But I may leave that for later. I need to redo the topology for, or not the topology, the poly count for this. Ugh, no. This one's gonna be high just because of how small it is. There we go. I probably need to start cutting into the top of the ear, like getting in here a little bit. Also, oh wait, I'm still using the camera, no wonder. Okay. Alright, sir, I need you to let go of the camera, please. Thank you. There we go. Trying to figure out for this scenario what I should do as far as like getting like really in depth to the ear. Okay, time to feel around my own. I want to make the ear just like a touch more angular. Just a touch. Is that too much? Yeah, it's a little too much. I definitely need to work on this a little bit more. I might just max out the poly count for this just so I can get some decent detail in here. I was worried it might be a little too early, but honestly, who gives a shit? Let's go ahead and just max it out. Well, I mean, maxing it out is not really a lot. Only give me like an extra 1,000. There, and that's gonna distribute relatively evenly. That's not a lot to work with. Okay. This needs to come in all the way. Alright, and this needs to come back a little bit more this way too. Oh no, I hope the kids aren't fucking getting sick again. Justin just got over getting sick. Now let's do draw sharp. I don't need it to be like super. I don't need the indentions I make to be super small. Kind of need a little bit wider. Go ahead and cut into this a bit. fix this up a bit. So this needs to come in. And then in its place, that's where this. That's kind of weird. Okay. Let's see. And we definitely need to come in here a little bit more. This needs to come. Down. There. Hang on a second, guys. I'm gonna check something. Okay, what?
I hate this game.
Shut the fuck up. Oh, did I goof maybe by Okay. I'm gonna pull out this chat as well. Make sure the other thing right. There we go. Yeah, this needs to come in too. So I really need to straighten this out some. Hmm. Oof. Okay. Alright, Head, I kinda need you to get the hell out of the way. This shape doesn't look too bad. Let's... None of that matters. You won't even see that. It'll be replaced. I'm gonna go to do the retopo. That's a little... That could just be where they... We'll find out. Yeah, you can't even see that, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that. This part's relatively thin, so we probably need to. Let's chase that inside. Hang on, I might need to. Whoops. Let's try this again. I think I'm having some problems with the proportions. That's better. Let's see if we can get that just like a little bit more. Let's move that down some more. That should be good. And what do I? All of this we talked. Probably just use draw sharp. So, I mean, honestly, like this is kind of a lot bigger than I'm giving it credit for. So I probably just need to come in here and all of this out. Here. Is that better? It just feels really intense. Like, I mean, I guess it's correct, but okay. Sides like that folds like almost immediately in. Can we get that inside, or is that gonna have to be something we do for doing retopology? Fill it out. This comes off. I need to make sure these two are separated. Earlier it was kind of looking like they were trying to bleed into each other. Okay. This kind of needs to serve as a fall off for the rest of here. Oh, it's funny. You can start like once the notes start repeating, you can hear the procedural shit in it. You can hear how it's the same notes just over and over again. It's funny. Alright, that's just gonna have to be good enough for now. I need to work on some other stuff. It is admittedly bitter though. You know, it was stupid simple, but that one move may have just like did everything we needed to with the mouth. Or the major fix we needed. We could admittedly like put a little bit more fat in here. That's pretty good for now. Admittedly, something else may like come to me, but as of right now, it's pretty damn good. We could probably bring the that might have been a bit too much. Okay. Hang on guys, I'll be right back. Both my kids are coughing and I need to check on them and make sure they're alright. I'll be back in like 5 minutes, hopefully. Alright boys, we back. I forget which one it was for the... Okay, perfect. You know, we might honestly just bring it up some. Put in like a little bit more detail. Although really, we don't need like a lot for this. Yeah, I get... Let's follow that. That might be a bit too excessive. Could probably do with like a little bit of separation here, but we'll do that with a cross sharp. Maybe a little bit more blunt than that. That's better. The ribcage probably needs to come in just a touch. I'm trying to think, like, that makes sense. Guess it does. Trying to think of like if this area right here, like if I need to like bring it in a little bit, but I don't think so because like ribcage is gonna have this natural curve to it. I think if anything, I probably need to bring the, I think I need to broaden the shoulders out a touch. Or, yeah, maybe just a little, like enough to have a separation between the forearm. It's just perfect. Cool. All right, let's finish the rest of the torso. Excuse me. Am I just not getting like enough curvature in there? It feels like a little flat in this area. I guess that's fine. Let's draw like just a touch of a break. Probably stand up a bit that here. There we go. I think that's okay, honestly. It's probably going to be the most narrow part of the torso. I think as long as I get like some decent lines going, I think we'll be fine. Which, I mean, I'll be honest, I think that looks fine. Okay. Now, realistically speaking, I should probably like line that together so that the quads and the thighs kind of blend into the hips. Because otherwise it feels like it's like accentuated, and I don't necessarily want this character to be like overly sexualized. Okay, well I guess I can, because that seems more like a job for the legs themselves. Okay, so let's work on the butt. Probably needs like a little. Hang on a second, guys. I'm gonna look up some reference real quick. Come on, folder. What the fuck? Alright, I need like a 3/4 facing away. Actually, this could help. But that's not exactly what I need. Is this really that uncommon of an angle for any reference I have? Oh, wait. Perfect, thank you. Yeah, so that needs to blend in too as well. Okay, so I think when we go back into the thighs and quads, I think we need to like work on blending it better into the torso. Alright, well then let's just work on the tummy and then I think we're good. Needs to be a little too wide here in the center. Like a nice curve, but nothing more. That probably needs to blend better as well. And it probably needs to start blending sooner. I was about to start cutting into like this area, but honestly it's already pretty low. Okay. After this I need to start creating the belly button. Honestly, I think that's good. Probably need it. There we go, perfect. Sharp. Come in here with a 20. This is a good spot. So it's just below the center, right about hip point. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I think what we're gonna do is we're probably going to increase it again, 400. Probably gonna be looking for about, okay, it's 450. Probably gonna need to like double. Okay, well 500. 350, alright. Oh, that's better. Is this still not enough? I'll keep going. Although honestly, I feel like, yeah, we're about 500,000 now. I feel like it's a touch excessive, but you know, whatever. Let's fatten the hair up a little. Just so it's less work to knit some. Go. Okay. I think that's good. Cool. Double check everything. Still gonna work on the butt a little bit. I don't want to skirt it off too much. No, you know what? Let's hold off on this part. Just because I don't know what changes we're gonna need to make once we blend the legs together a little bit more. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and save. Sculpt. I think it's still the same from when I don't think I've changed this too much. Now it's 26. Almost there. Okay. Now let's get this. Oof, almost. Do I need to make? So that definitely looks a lot better. Like, okay, so to explain to you guys what I'm doing, I need to effectively blend from this side of the butt. I need to blend that shape together with the outer part of the legs. That's what we're working on right now. But then I also need to make sure that I keep like this system. Like it's basically like 3 curved sections into a sharper point, curved section, sharper point, curved section. So if I can achieve those things, which it looks like I'm almost there. Need maybe like a little bit more meat here. Okay. I think that's good. I do need to like, this is a little sharp. I need to fill this out. So. And the hip bone right here kind of, it makes sense. It's not super accentuated, but I don't really want it to be. Get the fuck out of my way, floor. Oh, so that's where I grafted that on. Okay, well then that's just not gonna work from that angle. But is that better? Huh. So like, so from there it's fine. But the problem is like here it kind of falls apart. And I'm not necessarily sure like what to do about that. I think once we start blending things together, we can maybe solve that. But I think for now, that's fine. I don't want to spend a ridiculous amount of time on this. And we still have a good bit more to do. I'm hoping we can at least finish the high res model tonight. Okay, so it's currently 3,000. Okay. Yeah, I mean that seems like enough. Careful about this. I guess it's whatever. Like I wouldn't say I don't need to be careful, but actually, you know what? Let's bring this up a little bit. I feel like some of my smooth surfaces are gonna start dying. I'm also gonna reset transforms just so I don't have to worry about whether or not any of that's influencing anything. Alright, ladies, I need some assistance with these knees. Not entirely helpful, but it's a side view. What? There's no side view on this? Bullshit. It's okay. So I has this one. Her knees are relatively I mean, I guess it's not a problem. I think something like that's satisfactory. We just need to clean it up here. Oh, whoop. This up in here. I need to see this other angle. I probably need to build the areas around the knees because it's kind of separated. I probably need to make it a little bit more seamless, but I'll have to do that back up here. So I think for now we may just like leave it as is. Guys, I'll be right back. Be me when you realize that you've been fucking muted for the past 30 minutes. God damn it. I think that's good enough for the feet. I need to add the toes and then I think we'll be relatively good. You get one more look over. I feel like some of my anatomy's off. I can tell you one thing that I'm definitely off on right now. My heels are way too high. Now the it's kind of annoying me a little bit. When getting kind of annoyed with how the feet aren't working with me right now. I may have to actually come back in a little bit on it. Alright, honestly, that might have to do for now. I'm gonna start getting like too attached to stuff and it's gonna start annoying me. We'll come back to it. We might give the Jin stuff a break a minute. So I'm about to let's see what's going on. Oh, cool. Okay. I think it's pretty much just gonna be music all night. I was kind of hoping we would have a little bit more options for stuff to watch slash listen to. Okay. So I'll probably work on this for a little bit more. Like I'll get all the stuff together. Actually, you know what? We're coming up on the 2-hour mark. I'm gonna go take a quick break, like a 10-minute, like go stretch, go use the bathroom, all that kind of stuff. And we'll be back here in a moment. When we come back, we're gonna try to finish the high res of this character. Might try to get some hair done, so we'll spend like another hour or so on this, and then we'll transition into the pasta box stuff, and maybe we'll listen to some creepypasta while we're at it. Because the Gent playlist is cool, but I'm just not sure I want to listen to it for like hours upon hours. It's a little bit more in your face than the it's a little bit more in your face than the lo-fi. But yeah, I'm gonna leave you guys like this for about 10 minutes, and I'll be back. Alright, boys, we back. I think we may actually just go ahead and switch things up. We'll come back to this later. I think we've done like a lot of good work. I just don't want to get necessarily burnt out on this just yet. So I think we'll come back, we'll fix the arms, we'll finish the legs and the feet. We'll do the hands, and then we may start figuring out hair. But that'll be after we do some creepypasta stuff. I would imagine most of you would agree with me that we could probably stand to have a change of scenery. Alright, give me a moment. Let me check some stuff right quick. Okay. Let's fix this right quick. Alright, let's find some spoopy. Oh, we've had a... Oh, wow. We have a lot of new... Oh, what? Is this shit legitimately gonna change and the entire course of what it's doing as I'm looking for something to fucking replace it? Are you dead ass right now? Dennis, I can't believe you. Why have you done this to me? How far are we into this bitch? Hold up. We about to take a look. We are at song 20. Man. Okay, well, you know what? We're gonna restart this. And we are gonna save that for later. Okay. Let us find. Hang on, trying to get this out of my way. You good? Okay, let's find. Hello, Elvira. Your tatas are looking extravagant as usual. As usual. As usual. Wow, imagine being really coy and then fucking it up. Be me. Neither scenario is different.
Creepypasta, and before we get started on tonight's video, I just want to take a quick minute to tell you about tonight's sponsor, Skillshare.
No. Skillshare can get a spot on my channel when they start paying me for it. Not a moment sooner. You hear me? Hold up, we're gonna make this. I mean, do we need to make this big? Does anybody really care to see a static image? Like how I said, Skillshare is not getting a thing on my channel yet. Lo and behold, here we are. I do want to add an opacity filter to this. So just give me a minute, guys. I want to put an opacity filter. Wait, what would that even be? Wait, hold on, actually. How do you think, how do you make things transparent? How does one?
The house we visited was unbelievably. The first haunted house we visited was unbelievably boring. 3 small rooms, a fog machine, and 1 plastic skeleton.
I'm sorry.
Lauren and Mitch were waiting outside when Melanie and I exited. People were screaming on rides all around us, across the pier, but Lauren and Mitch looked half asleep. Performers in colorful costumes wandering through the crowd. The pier was part amusement park, part carnival. Melanie convinced us all to stop for funnel cake. The man behind the booth was dressed like a clown, complete with a purple and yellow pinstripe jumpsuit. In fact, all the food sellers were dressed like clowns. An entire neon rainbow of white-faced, red-nosed jesters. I suppressed a shiver. There was something
We're gonna mess around with this for a minute.
about clowns grinning and giggling while handing out pretzels. An amazing smell drifted my way on the breeze. Savory, smoky, neat. I looked for the source of the smell. 3 stalls down from the funnel cake place was a rundown booth with sausages, kebabs, and chunks of steak hanging down from the awning.
Chunks of steak.
Another clown was standing behind the counter. He was staring at my group. At me. I glanced up at the banner above the stall. Does this taste funny to you? There's another haunted house on the boardwalk, Trevor, Melanie said, chomping on her funnel cake. It's down by the inlet. I looked away from the clown and the meat. I don't know. I don't know if I feel like another haunted house. I've been to that one. It's not much better than the one here on the pier, Mitch said. There's a bunch of empty, dark rooms with some mops hanging from the ceiling and enough junk to give you an infection if you take a deep breath. Lauren shook her head. I know the one you're talking about, but I think they completely renovated it last winter. Added a whole second level. Changed all the rooms. I've heard it's actually decent now. Got it.
There we go.
Mitch said. Everyone looked at me for my vote. Why not? Can't be worse than the bargain basement of horror we just went through. I turned back to see if the clown at the meat stall was still watching us. The booth was empty. We left the pier and we made our way down the boardwalk to get in line for the haunted house.
Almost
The
there.
Maniac Mansion. The attraction was separate from the pier, so we need to pay to ride. Mitch balked when he saw the price was $6 a rider, but Lauren, half charmed, half shamed, him into coming along. Once we paid and approached the entrance, Lauren and Mitch took the lead car, while Melanie and I got into the one behind it. The cars were all shaped like small coffins, complete with demonic faces, bats, and skulls carved into the wood. The ride operator strapped us in, and we waved the all clear. "Remember, they aren't allowed to touch you," he said, as our car began to move along the rail. "What?" I shouted back, but the man didn't answer. Mitch and Lauren disappeared through a swinging red door. Our car clunked along slowly. 30 seconds later, we went through the same door into pitch black.
I'm gonna mute myself so we can listen.
It was cold inside the haunted house, almost freezing. At first, the sensation was pleasant. We'd spent the last 3 hours sweating on roller coasters and merry-go-rounds, but the chill soon became uncomfortable. Melanie and I scooted closer together, and I put my arm around her shoulders. Nothing happened in the first room. No lights turned on, no sound. We rolled silently through the darkness. Melanie let out a nervous giggle as we hit a slight drop. Our coffin glided through several layers of heavy curtains, and I'll admit that I might have flinched when the fabric brushed my arm. "This is already better than the other haunted house, and nothing happened," Melanie said, shivering. "Yeah, the atmosphere is..." We went through the last curtain and immediately triggered an air horn. Red lights flashed twice, revealing a room full of mannequins looming around us. Then it was dark again. "Oh my God," Melanie whispered. "I'm shaking." I swallowed, grateful that the air horn was loud enough to drown out my scream. "Yeah, freaky." The next few rooms, at least, had some light. Animatronic skeletons and corpses leapt out at us from behind the shadows. We traveled through a tunnel of spinning neon paint that ended in a sharp drop. Hidden fans blew cold air and water on us as we rolled through a room filled with fog. Just as we were about to exit the fog, I felt a strange sensation. The hair stood up on the back of my neck. I turned around and saw a shadow approaching us through the mist. A man in a hockey mask. He walked quickly, and my brain froze. My first thought was that he was another rider who left his car for some reason to explore the haunted house. The man came close, noticed me watching, then slipped around to Melanie's side. She didn't realize he was there until he was parallel to the car. When she did see him, she shrieked. The man never said a word. He followed us for a few steps, then opened a hidden door in the wall and went inside. "What the hell? What the hell?" Melanie gasped. My heart was trying to burst out of my ribcage, but I thought about what the rider-operator said before we started. "Remember, they aren't allowed to touch you." "Live actors," I said, laughing a little. "They must have added them in when they did the renovations." Melanie was nearly curled into a ball pressed into my side. "Warn me if you see any other creeping up on us, okay?" she asked. The actors were good. The woman in a white dress caught us by surprise as we rounded a corner. A big man caused both of us to jump when he revved up a chainsaw. I thought he was an animatronic until we got close. We were just starting to get used to the idea that any of the displays would come to life when our coffin suddenly entered a brightly lit room. It was completely white, with only 2 figures and a chair. The first man was dressed like a werewolf. He lay face down in a puddle of blood, his leg twitching. One of his feet were severed at the ankle. A clown was seated on the wooden chair nearby, chewing on the foot. Unlike the other actors, the clown's costume was ragged, dirty, held together with patches. He wore a curly pink wig and a mask that showed white cheeks, blue eyes, and a scarlet nose. The mask left his mouth open. His teeth were crooked and stained red. It was the same clown from the meat stall on the pier. The clown didn't move from his chair, and we rolled by in our car. He only lifted one hand, and he waved. That was the worst one yet, Melanie said, looking away. I turned towards her. That body on the ground looked awfully real for a prop, I whispered. "Stop trying to scare me," she said, punching my arm. I looked back over my shoulder and choked down a yelp when I saw the clown. He was standing now, staring at us. The clown began to walk, then run, then sprint towards us. We exited through a sliding door before he caught up, but just at the last moment. His fingers brushed my shoulder. This ride needs to be over. Now, Melanie said. We were in another pitch-black tunnel moving slowly. I thought I heard the thud of running footsteps coming from somewhere on my left, then past us, and kept going. A few seconds of silence, and then we heard the screams. It was a haunted house. I mean, we heard various yelps and curses and shouts from other riders in different parts of the building, but nothing like this, nothing as loud, nothing as panicked. I went off, Melanie whispered, squeezing my arm in a vice grip. It's all fake, I promised. We're almost... Our car came to a halt with a crash that threw us forward against the seatbelts. You okay? I asked. Yeah, Christ. It's so dark. What do we hit? Another car, I think. Maybe there was a malfunction with the track. Hold on, we need some light. I started patting my pockets, trying to remember where I'd put my cell phone. Something gurgled. I froze. The sound continued, a wet sucking noise, like someone slurping. Hello? Melanie said. Is someone there? I finally found my cell phone, and I snapped on the flashlight app. The light was limited, a little circle that I could point around the room, but it was enough to confirm that we hit another car. One that was stalled on the track. I swept the beam across the back of the coffin, and Melanie screamed. Lauren was staring back at us. Her throat slit so deep that her head was only hanging on by her spine and a few inches of skin and muscle. She was the source of the gurgling noise. Her eyes were unfocused, but she seemed to be looking directly at us. My hand was shaking so badly the flashlight beam jumped and fell like a wasp caught in a mason jar. I shined it away from Lauren and swept it back and forth. I stopped when I found Mitch. Jesus, no, Melanie sobbed. Mitch was on the ground in the tunnel, a hunting knife with the black handle was buried in his neck to the hilt. The clown from the previous room was hunched over my friend's body. When my flashlight hit him, the man looked back at us. I heard Melanie throw up, but I didn't take my eyes off the clown. He was holding Mitch's severed arm, the hand covered in bite marks. The clown chewed whatever he had in his mouth and swallowed. Then he lifted the arm in my direction and gestured for me to take it. Does it taste funny to you? He asked. I grabbed Mel's hand and I pulled her from the cart. We ran down the black tunnel. She was screaming, or maybe I was. It was panic. A panic sprint until we hit the warm air and lights of the boardwalk. Then we kept running. We kept running until we were on the beach, and that's when Mel finally made us stop so she could call 911. By the time the cops got to the haunted house, there was no sign of anything, not even the bodies. It's been weeks, and I still can't sleep. Whenever I nod off, I have the same dream, a dark room, a smell like old pennies, a wet floor, and then a voice in the blackness. Does this taste funny to you? Hey there, kids, it's me, Mr. Creepypasta.
You know how an insurance agent sees your policy info the
I think something might be happening here in my sleepy small town. I'm a bit frazzled. So much so that I guess I figured the best thing to do is to turn on the internet and ask for advice. Last night was a bit of a blur for me. I mean, I'll admit that, right? I went out with friends, I got skunk drunk at several different parties, ultimately passing out on my girlfriend Amy's couch. I'd hoped maybe to get lucky with her, but I guess getting in the door was better than nothing. Anyway, I don't believe that anything about Halloween night was special. Not that I'm aware. All the strange and disturbing things that had been happening started right after I woke up this morning. Amy had already left for work, and I was laying in a puddle of my own drool trying to figure out where my pants were when I heard this loud knock on the front door. I was half-dressed, so my first instinct was to ignore whoever was there. But the banging was so incessant, I was thinking maybe it was an emergency, right? So I opened the door, and I stared down at 3 kids all dressed in Halloween costumes holding plastic jack-o'-lanterns toward me. None of them had friendly faces, almost as if they had spent all night trying to find goodies. Together they chanted, "Trick or treat!" I have to admit, I thought it was some kind of prank at first. So I slipped my phone out of my pocket and I checked the date, because it seemed so dead serious. Sure enough, November 1st. Hey, sorry kids, you're a little late, I said as I showed them the time. Then I closed the door on them and I went back to getting dressed. A few minutes passed by and I kinda dismissively forgot about it. Then, just as I finished getting changed, I knocked again. At first, I didn't know it was the same kids, so I instantly opened the door, only to be surprised and a bit confused at seeing them standing there. "Trick or treat!" they chanted again. This time I got a good look at them. They seemed to have bags under their eyes, detailed makeup that made their costumes look genuine. It was a bit unnerving. "Look, where are your parents? I mean, shouldn't you be in school?" I said. They didn't respond and just stared at me, unblinking. This time, I slammed the door hard. I wanted them to get the picture that I wasn't about to play these childish games. And soon enough, though, they were banging on the door again. Now I was getting pissed and a bit worried. Why the hell were these kids out here in the middle of the morning trying to get Halloween candy? Seemed like a load of nonsense or something sinister going on, at least. I wasn't entirely sure which just yet. It was just almost 9. I needed to get to college for a class across town, so I grabbed my keys, marched toward the front door, decided to simply ignore the pesky kids. As I opened the door and they chanted, I put my foot out, and one of the kids wearing a devil costume stepped in the way, deliberately pushing me back. I was surprised at how strong he was. "Look here, you little," I said, as I tried again, and this time all 3 of them pressed me back inside the house. I grabbed the handle of the door to block them from getting inside, even as they began to press against it, more rabid than before. "Trick or treat," they said aloud again, this time in a more angry tone. What the fuck is going on? I managed to lock the door back, and I look at my phone, trying to decide if I should call the police. But that's stupid, right? This is just 3 kids in some Halloween makeup. In the back of my mind, I was beginning to doubt that. I could hear them on the other side of the door. It sounded like they were scratching, they were clawing at it. No longer acting like innocent children, more like dangerous animals. But what would I tell the authorities anyway? Help, I'm trapped in my girlfriend's house because of some candy-craving children? They'd laugh at me and send me to the loony bin, I thought. I tried to text Amy, see if she knew anything about it. "Do you ever have kids show up after Halloween for candy?" I asked her. Her reply was quick and automatic. "That's nonsense. I'm at work. Just get your stuff and go." She sounded irritated, dismissive. Had last night really gone that badly? I next heard the children against the side window, pressing up against them and demanding I let them in. "Go away! I don't have anything anyway!" I shouted. I even checked their pantry to be sure. Not a scrap of candy anywhere. After a while, things got quiet. I'm sure they had gone, so I peeked out the front door. Instead, I saw that more children had gathered in costumes on the street, all of them ominously staring towards Amy's house. I took a picture and I sent it to Amy. "These kids are outside your place. They're seriously freaking me out now," I told her. I was positive that if I stepped outside the house, these kids were going to hurt me. They gave off a very bad vibe. Amy's response was different this time, a bit more cautious. "Delete that picture and go to my garage. I keep some spare candy there. Just give them that and then get out of there." So, she did know something about this. I realized that as I did what she instructed. I found a bag of Hershey's chocolates and I poured them into a container. I approached the front door and peeked out. I didn't see any children anywhere. I opened the door slowly and stepped out, calling to them. "Candy! I have candy for you!" I can't forget what happened next. They swarmed me from every hiding spot in the neighborhood, behind cars, on roofs, bushes, even from sewers. They lunged to attack me, and I dropped the bowl of candy in the front yard, thinking only to run back inside and lock the door. As soon as I did, I heard them attacking one another, lashing, snarling, bones breaking. I called Amy again, trying to figure out what to do, but it went straight to voicemail. I watched for a solid 12 minutes as the children attacked and killed just to get their Halloween candy. And then once it was all gone, they seemingly dispersed and disappeared into the streets. Perhaps to one of her nearby neighbors. I mean, her house has always had its own private road, so I couldn't have been sure where they had gone to next, but I was sure they had definitely moved on. Just to be safe, though, I took a knife from the kitchen and walked out to the front yard, staring at the bloody mess from the candy carnage. What was happening here? Then I heard something behind me. 3 costumed kids watching me as I knelt over. They were posed to strike, and all I could think to do was run. I don't know for sure how far I went. I saw a house down the road, and I sprinted towards it, banging on the door for help. Then I saw the garage open, and I slipped inside, frantically searching for the button to close it. The children were closing in. The gate slowly moved to close as I mashed the button, the children almost at the edge. One of them managed to reach their arm under the frame as I watched as it was crushed by the garage metal door. Crushed and severed from the child, yet still drawing towards me to attack. I stepped on it as hard as I could as the dismembered hand tried to grab at my leg and finally smashed it to a pulp. Then I listened as the children roared just beyond the garage. I'm at a loss where to go to next. I even tried to contact local authorities, but it seems I can't connect to anything outside the neighborhood except via the internet, and nobody's answering my messages. It's gotten quiet, but I know they're still out there. They're waiting to attack me again. Any advice on how to outrun them? Maybe even kill the little hobgoblins is appreciated. And make it fast, please. I think they're searching for a way in.
Will you marry me first?
Yes.
I've worked for the United States Postal Service for most of my adult life. My career started 40 years ago in the sorting room, and it will end today after I post this message. They're suppressing any leaks that might even find a way to sweep this under the rug. But I have to put this out there. If I don't, I'll never get another night's sleep. There's a good chance you'll receive a black envelope in the mail one day in the near future. If you do, please don't open it. Nothing bad will happen, not right then. The envelope itself isn't really special, but inside of it, you'll find a white condolence card with your name and a date written in a pretty golden font. I promise that you don't want to know that date. None of us should know the day that we die before it happens. The first time I encountered a black envelope, I was in the sorting room. I remember pausing to study the paper for a moment. Besides the unusual color, it also felt different than any of the thousands of other envelopes I'd handled before. The paper was thick, almost porous, slightly warm to the touch. It was heavy for how thin it was. When my supervisor noticed what caught my attention, she pulled me into her office. She shut the door. I was hoping that we wouldn't see any of those this year, Diana told me, nodding for me to sit down. I still had the black envelope in my hand. The recipient's address was printed in clean white lettering on the front. There's no return address. Is it something special? I asked, trying to hand her the envelope. Diana jerked back like I'd offered her an unpinned hand grenade. Yes, she said. The very worst kind of special. We see 1 or 2 of those come through every couple of years. Some folks have been working here for a decade, aren't even aware of them. Just bad luck that you found one. I felt a chill lick down my spine. Bad luck? We have an unofficial policy about those particular pieces of mail. Sort them, forget about them, don't report them. For God's sake, don't open them. Sort it. But there's no return address. There never is, Diana said, standing up. Now please get that thing out of my office. Don't mention it to me or anyone here. Hopefully we won't see any more for a long time. Now I did as I was told. But I couldn't get the envelope out of my mind. I remembered feeling damp when I sorted it into outgoing. Like it was oily, even greasy. Months passed. Managed to finally stop wincing every time a new load of mail came in for sorting. Then, a little more than a year after finding my first black envelope, I found another. And then another. Within the space of 6 months, I'd sorted a dozen of the things, always lacking return address, always feeling off to the touch. Diana began avoiding me. Some of my co-workers, the old hands who'd been in the mailroom since they probably used ponies for deliveries, gave me a wide berth too. Seemed I had some nasty cloud floating over me, as if I was responsible for the influx of envelopes. I began having nightmares. Vivid, smeared panic dreams full of heat and shadow and violence. Next year, I was transferred from sorting to deliveries. I suspected Diana just wanted me gone from the tiny, smoke-filled, but this was 40 years ago, room that passed for her kingdom. I was bad luck. That was fine by me. I laced up my boots, got a comfortable hat. I started making my rounds. My first assignment was a quiet neighborhood on Maryland shore. I've likely seen similar places, gravel driveways, oak trees with tire swings, above-ground swimming pools. I loved it. Always carried candy for the kids that would rush out some mornings, hoping for a package or a present or a special letter. I brought milk bones for the dogs, too, who were generally more friendly than I'd been led to expect. In 4 years walking that beat, I was only chased by a canine once. And when the retriever caught me, it turned out she just wanted to play. Memories of the black envelopes and my coworkers' nervous glances faded quickly against the fresh air, the sunlight, and my new position. Until one winter when I dropped off the mail to a regular. Betty Majors. Lovely woman. Silver hair. Endless parade of colorful bathrobes. She'd always meet me at the box at the end of her drive to collect her mail in person. Usually we'd stand for a minute, chit-chat while she opened her letters. I was just updating her on my engagement to a beautiful girl 2 towns over when I saw Betty frown. She was glancing at a pile of mail in her hands. I felt a cramp in my lower stomach I couldn't explain, an emerging sense of dread as I watched her gaze. Sure enough, she was holding a familiar black envelope with white lettering. "It's odd," she said, carefully tearing the seal. I suppressed an irrational urge to yank the envelope from her hands. Instead, I watched her face as she read the message inside. Betty seemed confused. She looked up at me. "No return address? Doesn't look like it. Can I ask? It's none of my business, but..." Betty shrugged and lifted the small square card up for my inspection. "It's almost like an invitation, but it doesn't say for what." Gold letters. White stock, Betty's name, and a date little more than 2 weeks in the future. That was all. I shrugged. I tried to smile. It's probably for a wedding, funeral, or a birthday party. All 3 sound like too much work at my age. Betty giggled, already moving on to open the next letter. We said our goodbyes. I finished my route. I tried to put the envelope out of my mind, but the morning of the day in the letter, I couldn't help but feel anxious. When Betty didn't meet me at the mailbox for our usual chat, my anxiety began to climb towards a panic. I decided to bring her letters right to her door in case she was sick or occupied. A stranger answered when I knocked, a young woman with swollen red eyes. Betty's granddaughter. My client, my friend. Had passed from a stroke early that morning. Some family was visiting for the holiday, found her body just after dawn. I'd only barely missed the ambulance as it took her away. And now, I've never been religious, but after that day, I started going to church. Always repeated the same prayer before leaving. Lord, no more black envelopes. My prayers were answered for 3 years until I had to deliver another one. It was the same neighborhood, the same result. Man died 3 months after my delivery. There was another envelope the next year, another death. Other people I delivered to passed away without receiving the mysterious letter, though. I could see no rhyme or reason in it. All I could do was continue my route and say an extra prayer for anyone who received a dark delivery. Each of them died within a year of receiving a black envelope. I took solace in the fact that none of them knew what the date meant. However, judging by the fear I saw with a few folks, I worry they might have guessed. Years ticked by, and I moved from deliveries to office to administration. I was hoping for a quiet retirement this year. And then a month ago, the manager of my sorting room came to my office badly shaken. Black envelopes. Dozens. Hundreds. More than he'd ever seen. Not all of his staff had caught on that there was something gruesome about the deliveries, but rumors were spreading. Word came from up high to slow down circulation, act like everything was normal, basically put our heads in the sand. Another unofficial policy drifted down to management. Lose the envelopes. Trash them. Destroy them. Didn't matter. We'd burn the bastards by the dumpster load, and somehow the letters would be back in the sorting room the next day. No one could explain it. No one could figure out who was bringing in the envelopes or how to stop them. The same names, addresses would show up again and again until we finally broke down and delivered them. All this was done in secret as much as we could manage. I don't know how many people in USPS have caught on. I mean, maybe 10. Perfect. Maybe fewer. My guess is the government's afraid of mass panic, of word getting out. I understand that, but I'm still posting this because no matter what we do, the envelopes continue to flow. People keep opening them, and even if they aren't sure what the dates mean, I think it sticks with them. Turns up in their dreams, eats away at the time they have left, and makes them rot with worry. So I'm sending out this message, and I'm leaving. I'm going to try to enjoy the time I have left. You see, not long ago, I found a black envelope addressed to me, and I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself. I read the date. You always think you'll have more time. Curiosity is such a vicious animal. When we started getting that influx of marked letters earlier this year, I snuck a dozen of them out of the sorting room. I read them in my office. If you applied gentle heat to the adhesive, it's not too hard to reseal the envelopes later without damage. A dozen names, dozen strangers. But each of them had the same date written on that terrible golden ink. I pulled more envelopes at random over the next few months. The date's always the same. Over and over and over. Hundreds, thousands. I think something awful is coming. Hey there. Right? Whatever. Might as well check it out. It's weird, right? Whatever. Might as well check it out. Haven't seen a horror movie that's actually scared me in a while. That was the last text Lacey sent me before she went missing. I know it's irrational, but I hate myself for not doing something. And for not stopping her, but how was I supposed to know? You know, how could I have anticipated anything that was going to happen after? The film, or whatever the hell it is, made its way into our small town like a plague only a few days ago. 12 people bought tickets for it. 12 people are now missing. Among them was Lacey, my girlfriend for over 2 years. At the risk of sounding like that guy, our future was looking nothing but promising. We had plans. I mean, we did. Until Mr. fucking blank showed up. This is nowhere near a conventional missing persons case, of course. The rabbit hole goes deeper here, and honestly, the details simply don't make any sense. From what I managed to dig up, this is a general timeline of what had happened. An option to buy tickets for the film shows up at one of the 3 theaters in our town, which is about a 20-minute walk from my house. Only that one. And it wasn't available online, only at the front counter of the theater itself. It wasn't supposed to be in the regular rotation. Also, none of the employees of the theater were informed about any special screenings. They simply came in and saw that it replaced a 5:30 p.m. slot for a pre-existing film. They didn't question it because, why would they? The first and only screening is at 5:30 p.m. on that day. The theater wasn't the busiest, but it wasn't empty either. Of course, most people opted to skip it, given the lack of any information regarding the film. But that being said, the only people who bought tickets were younger, likely curious about the odd title. The film lasted about an hour and 10 minutes, with all the previews and credits considered. Pretty short for a feature, right? At 6:40 p.m., an employee entered the theater for cleanup duty. What he found were rows and rows of empty seats. Drink cups still in the holders, popcorn littered all over the floors. No blood, no signs of a struggle. Nobody had left or entered the theater after the film had begun. With confirmation from the security cameras, the theater itself had no camera inside, so that part remains a mystery. The screen allegedly consisted of nothing but a dark static. That's what we were told, at least. I have a feeling that some details were left out from there, considering the fact that the employees in question are now missing as well, also rumored to have gone into a catatonic state after being questioned. The manager of the theater, who never greeted the employees that morning, as he usually did, was found dead in his office, with severe wounds around his neck, left from a plastic bike lock that was likely used to strangle him. And a new employee was hired about 3 weeks prior. The other employees described him as quiet, but a nice guy. He was working the day of the incident. You guessed it. He's missing as well. Also suspect number 1 in the investigation, however. They're really grasping for straws at that one. I wouldn't doubt that this employee had something to do with it, but the logistics behind the whole situation just aren't cohesive enough to make that call for sure. Some additional details. No copy of the film has been found. No progress has been made in the search for the missing people. Hell, it's hardly seemed like they're even trying. The local cops have been strangely hush about the whole thing, almost like they don't want people asking about it. They literally threatened to arrest me when I kept pressing them for details. There's been a lot of vehicles with tinted windows parked near the theater and surrounding areas, some even in my own community. And, well, that's the whole situation. I can't focus on anything right now. My brain's scattered and my anxiety's going through the roof. Sue me. What the hell do you expect? Lacey has to be out there somewhere, right? How the hell is somebody just supposed to disappear to thin air? What the hell kind of film is Mr. Blank? Christ. Getting a headache just thinking about it. My initial grief's been replaced more so by confusion and anger. Might just start searching for answers myself. I won't be alone, though. Rose, Lacey's best friend, and Mike, her brother, just as bent on figuring this out as I am. I'm not going in blind, though. In fact, I have 2 leads. One's more of a shot in the dark, but the other should lead us somewhere concrete. I'll start off with the former. A few weeks ago, I remember my little brother telling me about a strange man he saw carved into a tree. Now, it was allegedly accompanied by messy and frantic repetitions of the word "stop" around it. I didn't think anything about it at the time, but it might be relevant now. Maybe not. We'll see. The other came up while I was searching for answers online. After feverishly posting about the film on what I considered to be relevant forums and yielding no answers, somebody finally messaged me about it, claiming that they had information that I might like to know. And luckily, they're only a 3-hour drive from here, and are willing to meet me halfway. Is this a bad idea? Probably. Am I going to like what I find? Probably not. But the thought of Lacey being out there in God knows what kind of fucked up situation, I just can't take it. I'm not letting it end like this. And we're off. The person who'd messaged me, online name ScreenGrabber22, told me to call him Jay. and he's agreed to meet up at a diner in a town about an hour away from us, 2 away from him. He seemed genuine enough while I was talking to him online, but intentions can be hard to ascertain over text. With short, still worth a shot, I guess. I'll do anything to figure this out. Mike was all in from the get-go. Suppose I felt safer with him around, given the fact that he stood at about 6'2" and 200 plus pounds, boosting a 650-pound deadlift. Obviously, he didn't like the idea that something had happened to his sister. I mean, hell, I had to stay on my toes just to stop him from knocking me out when he found out that Lacey and I were first dating. He was also pissed as hell at both of his parents for being so complacent about the situation, and the cops for not yielding any results. On the other hand, Rose was wary about the situation at first. I couldn't blame her, really. This shit was weird. But at the end of the day, we all really wanted to find Lacey. Enough so to venture off into what was, ostensibly, a dangerous unknown. The drive was uneventful, which I suppose was a good thing. I had a feeling that the humdrum nature of our little trip wasn't going to last, though. What a seedy-ass place, Mike stated as he stepped out of the vehicle. I couldn't disagree. Flickering fluorescent lights, peeling paint, and a nearly empty parking lot. A place that truly hadn't caught up with the times. Guy's probably bullshitting about knowing anything, Mike continued. If he got us out here to try something, I'll blow off some steam by stomping his shit in. I expected nothing less from him. Anything to find Lacey, but don't do anything stupid. I know you're gonna, Rose said, before taking the lead and heading towards the entrance. Hey, wait up, Mike called out, running after her. I took a deep breath before following suit. This was happening. We were taking matters into our own hands. The place was sparsely populated inside, about 6 other people in total. Green hoodie, black hat, I muttered to myself. Jay's outfit of choice, apparently. Didn't take long to spot him. I was relatively relieved upon realizing that he was on the younger side. He looked slightly older than us, probably early 20s, late teens. Nothing terribly noteworthy about his appearance. A skinny guy with medium...
Guys, I think we're gonna go ahead and call it a day on the stream. I'm just kind of bored, honestly, right now. So I'm probably gonna play a game for a bit, and I'm gonna work some more on this. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm just gonna take the rest of the day to do what I need to and what I want to. I'm gonna put the music on. Yeah. I'm gonna put this on the end stream as well. I'm gonna see if I can't find someone to raid right quick. Holy shit, there's so many people online right now. Ooh. Max is playing Bloodborne. Alright, that's what we're doing then. Okay, give me just a second, guys. Okay, Twitch peeps are rating Maximilian, dude. Everybody else. I'm gonna end the stream, and I will see you all later.